Welcome. You are listening to RevUp with Alanis Marketing, and I'm your host, Roxanne Alanis. Welcome to RevUp, and I am so excited for our next guest. This is an amazing, ambitious woman, and she's decided to revolutionize the building and construction industry. I'm so excited to be introducing you to Branka Minić. She is the CEO of Building Talent Foundation. And Branka, thank you so much for joining me on RevUp.
Roxanne, thank you very much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
It was, I think we've known each other for a few years now, introduced through a colleague. And I was so impressed with the discussions that we had early on, because I think you were just getting started with Building Talent Foundation. And I would love for you to share just this amazing goal that you had in the construction industry.
That's correct. We started in 2019. So we just completed our first 3-year strategy and plan. And you were part of that success. You and your company, Roxanne, helped us to actually with our communications and our branding and our marketing. So thank you very much for your contribution.
Oh, absolutely.
We are a national nonprofit organization. We were established by 20 large residential construction companies. And our purpose is to address the talent shortage across building trades, across skilled trades. We're now in 18 markets. So growing from a concept and an idea within 3 years, being operational in 18 markets. Last year, we engaged more than 23,000 young people in conversations around careers in construction. And we were able to place into employment opportunities more than 1,400 individuals. So this was a very fast growth. Yep. And this is just the beginning. That goal you're talking about, we set to engage 1 million people by 2030 and place 100,000 people into construction careers. So it's a very tall order, and
very big goal.
Yes, and we have to actually accelerate our growth. Wow. So lots of challenges in front of us.
And then this is just in residential construction, not commercial.
It is focused on residential, but there is definitely spillover. So we're definitely helping also employers who are in commercial and even infrastructure and manufacturing, supporting the built environment. So it's wide.
Got it. And one of the things that I think is so amazing and unique, and I know our listeners want to know more, you actually are pulling together some very large companies that are supporting you. Can you talk a little bit about the industry and how you're pulling quite a group of heavy hitters?
It's not easy, I have to admit. But this challenge of really talent gap in the industry is so persistent and so acute that talking about that challenge brings people together. They all realize that we need to work together, otherwise we won't be able to solve it. They all tried, they had their initiatives, within their own companies or with their own ecosystems, but it didn't work. So we need to come together and at all levels, and we need to work together. So that's the starting point, agreeing that this challenge exists and we need to work together. Then the next step is, what is the benefit for all partners who are at the table? And, spelling that return on investment upfront brings the companies forward. They understand that good people create values for them, and that they will be able to build more homes or build more bridges or roads if there are wonderful, qualified people who are doing those jobs. So agreeing on the challenge and agreeing on the solution, really illustrating what is the return on investment, that's what engages companies at that level.
I always thought what you were doing was so brilliant, because it's hard sometimes for an individual company to find a solution. Maybe they know the solution, but they're all by themselves. And what I think what has been amazing is that you've been able to pull so many different companies together and have that one singular goal. Being able to also get people together and not feel that they're competing with one another, that this is a common goal and it's going to benefit an entire industry. And also the economy. There's the increase in housing prices is because of the shortage. So it's sort of all plays together. And yeah, I can't talk enough about what you're doing. I think it's incredible. For some of the goals and ambitions are coming together. What would you say is been like some success tips that you could share if anyone had this type of a big goal where they're trying to pull an industry together and get everyone together in a singular goal where you can start actually having tangible results? What would you say would be some of the, if you could share now looking back to yourself, what you would have done different?
Well, there are no magic recipes, and whatever I come up with, somebody already said it. So the planning obviously is so important. I think working without a plan, a long-term and short-term plan, it's impossible to get any results. So being very smart about analyzing the situation, in this case, analyzing the labor market in construction and understanding, who does what, who are the players, and then not stepping on them, right? Finding and carving that niche that where we could be very effective, but also where we could bring value to all the other partners. I really believe in working together. And if that is the central approach and principle, then we have to find ways to make it useful and beneficial for all partners. And then it's executing religiously, whatever is in that plan. With a very good team. So I have been blessed with wonderful people on the team, and this would have never happened. Where we are would have never been possible without a wonderful set of people who I'm surrounded. And then the ingredient is not giving up. Even when there are challenges, even when you face something and it looks impossible, that not giving up and putting the work and the efforts, and then with a little bit of luck, things actually happen. So I would say that little bit of help is necessary also.
That's wonderful. Those are great, I think, tips for people. But the interesting thing is you have also been able to really connect with high-level, large companies. How did you do that? Were these relationships you had before, or did it start to, I mean, that is fascinating how you've been able to pull the caliber of people that you've gotten together. How did you do that?
Well, many of those contacts came through referrals from either the companies who established Building Talent Foundation or from my personal connections, my friends and family. So referrals are wonderful. We love referrals. I would say that LinkedIn also has worked very well for me, connecting with people who know other people. So working the chain on LinkedIn has worked. And then industry shows and other networking events where being present and engaging with people around the table during a conference or a lunch meeting, that has been also very powerful in building trusted relationships. It takes forever. I'm a very impatient
Right.
person, but it takes a very long time. And I'll tell you that I just had a breakthrough with one of the companies. It took me 2 years going after it,
Yep.
building the relationship of trust, and it finally came true. So patience is very important in building these relationships.
It's interesting. You say that it's taken time and patience, and you got to persevere, but you have come a very long way in a very short period of time. So it's great. I think what it's interesting is you don't realize how it comes together. You had a plan. You've got you figured out I think a very succinct mission that everybody could align with. And then you just focused on that.
Yes, and one of our partners calls me delightfully aggressive. So I am aggressive on that path. But I have to say that marketing communications and having the right partner is also very, very important. When you
Yes.
are a small entity, and really nobody knows Building Talent Foundation in 2019. It's just a name on some document incorporation, the government incorporation
Right,
document,
right.
right? Nobody knows about us. Then being able to have a professional brand, being
Mhm.
able to present yourself on social media, on any type of communication in a professional way, it's a very, very important. I think it's even more important than if you are a big company and you have lots of money. We had to be really
You had to
very,
look the
very
part.
presentable. Yes. And
Right.
so I think it's part of that success is definitely marketing and communication partner.
Well, that's wonderful. That was your vision and your passion. And I thank you for saying that, because I see a lot of companies that get started and they don't do that. And it probably takes longer to
Yes,
get where they need to
absolutely.
go.
Absolutely.
That's great. Okay, that's wonderful. I am going to switch topics here,
Okay.
and we're gonna talk about actually go to Jobs to Build, right? So we go from Building Talent Foundation, which is this wonderful foundation with this amazing mission in helping pull together people and getting them educated, and vocational schools, like looking at different ways to bring them into construction. Tell me about Jobs to Build, because I think you have another mission, which is really wonderful. And it has to do with getting dialed in more into, I think, in this country, a lot of underrepresented people in the workforce.
Yes. So I shared with you that we have a very ambitious goal of engaging 1 million people in exploring careers in construction. We cannot do this being a small nonprofit with 20 some people. We cannot engage 1 million people on the ground. So we had to leverage technology, and that's why Jobs to Build is our career platform. We have 30 different career pathways described on that platform. And we are very hard at work to bring individuals from schools, those who are unemployed, those who are underrepresented in different neighborhoods, in different parts of this country, to Jobs to Build to explore careers. We call it's a job board with a concierge service. So they're not just alone. My team is there to support with career coaching and advice and connections to then take that career exploration to the next step, to basically connecting them to opportunities in the industry. Now, if you look and analyze the numbers, this industry suffers from PMS. It's pale, male, and stale, right? It's an aging population. It is. It's an aging population. It's with a very low participation of women, and it definitely does not represent the demographic makeup of many communities in United States. So because
Right.
of that, I saw that not just as a challenge, but as an opportunity. If we have almost 500,000 open job positions right now, okay, vacancies, then
Right.
where are our opportunities to bring people in? Why not bring more young women into this industry and
Mhm.
women who are maybe returning after having children returning to the workforce? Why not bring more individuals who are maybe recent immigrants, refugees into this
Right.
country, people who are transitioning out of the military, people who are returning citizens who have served their time and now they need to be reintegrated in the society? So all those individuals who might have issues with other employers and
Mhm.
other sectors are very welcome in this industry, and there are wonderful opportunities for them. So that's how we found that that challenge can be an opportunity for us, and we are very much focused, intentional on bringing those groups into the opportunities we have.
I love that. I think a lot of people don't even realize the success and the thriving career that you can have in construction, from welding to plumbing to uh, concrete work to building, uh, the actual building of houses, which is fascinating. Um, I love the idea of it just because I do a little work around the house myself. But what I wanted to talk about is so one of the challenges with reaching underrepresented groups is just getting that awareness to them. And so how are you doing that? Because I think it's amazing that you're creating these opportunities. But I think the other part that you're doing that is incredible is you're actually getting into those communities and neighborhoods. Can you talk a little bit more about how you're doing that?
Um, well, first of all, you really have to be in it. If you say that you're going to recruit and outreach and create a pipeline of diverse candidates, then you really need to be intentional about it. So, number one, my team is as diverse as we want to outreach to those groups. You cannot be single-minded in your own hiring practices if you want to recruit a diverse group.
Right.
The second thing is that it is not just about individuals, it's about partnering with organizations that are active in supporting those groups. So we went into our communities and we looked who is supporting recent immigrants, who
Mhm.
is working with youth at risk, where are those women supporting organizations and women's shelters. We went to churches. In Orlando alone, we have a partnership with 140 churches
Wow.
because that's where people go to find help, right? And so we went to them and said, when you're doing your food drives, can we also put a hiring booth and talk to people about jobs, right? So
Wow.
that's another way to go deep into community, because those community leaders are, in churches and helping individuals in their neighborhoods. We are there to support them with employment opportunities. So that those are just some examples. You have to change your brochures, that you have to change your flyers. We have everything in multiple languages. Our jobs to build site is available in any language you want and also on your phone. So you have to mean it when you say that you want to bring a diverse talent pipeline.
And that's amazing. And you're also pushing up, right, with the companies you're working with. The ones that are doing the hiring, you're actually getting them to do things differently, think a little bit differently, bringing women and diverse groups in. They have to operate a little bit differently on their side.
Yes, so we have to also acknowledge that some of these underrepresented groups have additional barriers to employment and need some additional support. And that's where we play a major role. So, for example, if you have somebody who is coming from another area or coming from unemployment or low socioeconomic status, they may not have transportation. They may not have a car to get to their job. So we found ways how to work and refer them to organizations that can help there.
Wow.
And to provide that kind of assistance. And we are also transferring that kind of thinking to our big companies who are our supporters and saying, listen, let's work together on resolving these barriers and finding ways how this candidate who has high potential can become a really good employee for you. Let's overcome the issue there.
Right. That's amazing. I love all this work that you're doing. I will do my part in making sure as many people hear this podcast and know about Jobs to Build and Building Talent Foundation. I think it's so incredible what you're doing. And I'm excited to share this with others. We're excited to share stories of, people like you who are really making a difference in the country. And I think that it's so important to celebrate you and all the hard work that you're doing. So thank you so much for being on this podcast.
Thank you.
Really wonderful.
Thank you, Roxanne, for inviting me. I really enjoyed this. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. You've been listening to Rev Up. I'm your host, Roxanne Alanis. To listen to other episodes and learn more about our guests and to rev up your revenue, visit revuppodcast.com.